And welcome to Stock Market Today, sponsored by Interactive Brokers. It's Justin Nielsen along with Ed Carson, and we had a short trading day today. Kind of nice, but also kind of rough because it seems like it just goes by so quick. So we were kind of scrambling just to get on air right now.
That's right.
But let's take a quick look at the indexes. But before we do that, just some of the stocks we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Progeny and IPO, and also get into a little bit on software, Adobe, and CRM, Salesforce. Talk about those. But for the indexes, Ed, you were mentioning that the S&P 500 had so close to the worst day of the month. It was only down 0.38%, and I think you were saying that the S&P 500's worst day this month was 0.39%.
Yeah, that shows you how the market's been. I mean, here's a look at the S&P 500. There's actually a little green line sort of like trailing along with the index lately, and that's the 10-day moving average, except for one day where it just by a whisper got below it. Mm-hmm. It is closed above the 10-day line every single day. The NASDAQ and Dow are essentially the same. It's just really strong performance. Everything's sort of really calm. I mean, we had China trade news, which there was concerns because President Trump signed a couple of bills that are sort of supportive of the Hong Kong protesters, angering Beijing. But Beijing really didn't do anything, concrete in countermeasures. So the thought is that, that the tariffs are still going to, that the tariffs are not going to go up in December 15th, that the trade war talks are still going on. And Jed Graham, he wrote a story today saying that maybe actually by Trump acting tough in this regard, it'll make it easier for him to roll back tariffs because it's like, look, I've taken a strong stand. In any case, it didn't have too much of an impact. Market's down a little bit, trading's depressed. It's hard to make too much out of today's action. We're obviously doing very well.
Yeah, and I was reading your futures column and the sinister intentions. I almost thought that sounded like a good, maybe a new Netflix original or something like that.
That's right.
The NASDAQ, was kind of about the same thing. It was down about 0.5%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down about 0.4. So again, pretty much everything down about the same amount, but not too much. And of course, volume, you're going to expect that to be very light for the half day. So not much that we're going to see there.
Yeah.
Now let's go ahead and start getting into some of the stocks. Now we've got Progeny. This is one that we talked about on IBD Live today, and someone had asked about this as in terms of an IPO base. So we were letting Mike Webster field that question, and this is something that looks like it's potentially setting up.
Yeah, I mean you can see here. One thing is you might say, well, why didn't you buy it at the open right when it came out? Yes, if you'd done that.
In hindsight, that's great.
You'd be happy. But there's a lot of things like Uber, a lot of other things that may look good for a day or two, snapshot, and then reverse lower. So we like to see a stock set up, just like with other companies, like other stocks, set up in a base or some other buying option before breaking out. Now, with Progeny, which provides fertility services, this one hadn't really set up. Now it is setting up. And again, you'll see that green line, that sort of a 10-day line there as well. Not that that's too important, but it's just showing it's been sort of riding that 10-day line. If it can get about 10 cents above that old high now, that would, in heavy volume, that would provide maybe an entry point, because you want to see it shake out. Sometimes it doesn't mean you get the lowest price. What you're looking for is sort of the best price in a way. And it's just action that's interesting. I will note that has earnings on Tuesday, so that could be a catalyst for the stock surging or falling.
Right,
so it would seem like a really dicey time to be buying right now.
Yeah, and a lot of times with these, you might look at it and say, oh my gosh, I missed it, it's gone up so much, but a lot of times these will give you a chance at some point, whether it's a minor pullback, flat action, and that can be the opportunity. But we do like to see that trading history rather than just going in there and buying, right on the opening day.
And I would just say Progeny is profitable, which is really nice for an IPO, and has triple-digit revenue growth. So there's a lot of things to like about this stock.
Very good. Let's go ahead and move on and get into software now. Adobe, this is one of the big names in software. It's been out there for a long time. They did their subscription as service transition a while ago, very successful at it, and just we're on a tear. They haven't been on as strong of a move lately compared to a lot of the other software stocks, but this is starting to kind of pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a huge winner. It was a winner in 2019, but didn't go crazy like the others. It's come down, as you can see, since a little like in late October. It's really been moving up sharply. It's just a little bit below the buy point, which is which is just the left-hand side of the consolidation, which you can't quite see here. Just a little bit over there. Now earnings are coming up December 12th, I believe, so that's something to watch out for, because there isn't that much time ahead of it. But it's just moving sharply, moving a little bit better than the market, not tremendously. Relative strength line, that purple line down below, that's actually coming up a little bit, not at the old highs, but any stock that's consolidated for a few months is going to show some kind of lagging activity.
Now, a lot of times we like to see that relative strength line at new highs before the price gets there. And for Adobe, it might not make that, but this has also been a little bit of a longer consolidation on Adobe, and that can often make that relative strength line a little bit depressed, especially if the market's been running,
And that's what the market's been doing.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and contrast that with another stock that we're going to take a look at. That's Salesforce.com. CRM is the ticker symbol on that. And the relative strength line on this one looks a little bit more depressed because, as software has been going really strong and the market has been going really strong, this one it's approaching a buy point, but it hasn't gotten the strength ahead of time. Right?
Yeah, I don't know if we could take a look at a weekly chart, but this is like, you can sort of see right now it's been consolidating lately, and it has formed a handle on this, but it's a long consolidation. It really didn't take part in the software or the rally this year, and so its relative strength line, thanks, and there's the weekly chart. So it's getting close to those old highs, but the relative strength line has been lagging for quite a bit. Now, obviously, this has been a huge, long time winner.
Yes.
But it has a relatively long consolidation, hasn't come up too much. I mean, it's rallied in recent weeks, but it hasn't outpaced the market that much either. I mean, which is, so it's just a situation, it could it become again? I mean, we'll see. We have earnings on Monday night. So, I mean, maybe they'll accelerate growth again, but this has been sort of a steady earnings growth. It usually doesn't shock with earnings either way. But, so that's something you have to watch out. It's like maybe, can it change the character after this sort of period of sort of sideways, sort of lagging action?
Yeah, and if it can't, that's one of those things where there's a lot of merchandise out there that looks stronger. So just because something hits a buy point doesn't necessarily mean you have to buy it. If there's better merchandise out there, then you can always be going for what looks stronger.
That's right.
Right, okay. That's going to do it for us today. Hopefully everyone had a great Thanksgiving holiday. I personally think that the camera added 10 pounds for me today, so I hope that was a similar situation.
For me, it was pie.
For you, it was pie. That's
what added the 10 pounds.
Yeah, okay. Well, and I mean, with your vegetarian lifestyle generally, I think you have a benefit there, So anyway, that'll do it for us today. A few things that we have to tell you about. I guess we have the investing strategies. That's something to be aware of that will be popping next week. Allie's going to be doing that again. That's at investors.com/investing strategies. So do realize that's coming up. And of course, we had a lot of people joining us during the IBD Live. That's been a fun thing that we've been doing in the mornings. So, for those of you that haven't joined us yet, it's definitely something that you might want to do a trial of. That's at investors.com/IBD Live, and you can kind of join 4 panelists and sometimes an extra person on Q&A. And you really got to kind of get to start your morning with us.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. Obviously, I've been enjoying participating in it. That explains the shirt.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't get the memo that there was an IBD shirt.
That's right. That's why we left you off screen today. But Mike Webster asked us to do that, and so that explains the shirt. But yeah, I think it's really useful. We're really covering the kind of things that we're doing in the office. This is what we've been doing anyway, and looking at stocks that are actionable, stocks that are moving through buy points, or I think it's great.
And the point that you were making this morning that I really liked was that even for experienced people, and we have a lot of experienced people online with us, it's kind of nice because you're not in that cave, by yourself, trading in isolation. You kind of have other people kind of checking things out for you. But anyway, so hopefully you'll join us on that someday soon. And for this week, we're done, and hopefully everyone has a great weekend, and we will see you back here on Monday.